Side Podcast. I am your host, Bobby Marshall, and you are listening to episode 3. Today, my guest is Jeremy Myers. He is my right-hand man on the podcast. You've heard him on the show before. He's a great guy, and I'm privileged to call this guy a friend. With no further ado, this entire episode is dedicated to Mr. Jeremy Myers. Jeremy. What's up, brother? What's up, brother?
Bobby. Welcome to the, I'm 7 pounds heavier than the last time I saw you on my coworker's podcast.
Shit, man. Well, I'm not saying no shit to you, but man, it's like, I've totally thrown a lot of my diets out the window. I have been working out more, I feel like, but I don't know. I've been so busy with the podcast too that, I don't know. It's been weird. It's a different type of busy for me. You know what I mean? And so I don't have my normal routine where I'm going to the gym or going to the jiu-jitsu at 6 a.m. or whatever. So now it's like, I don't really have a whole lot to do today. So I'll just wake up at 8 and just do whatever the hell I want to do, you know?
Yeah, it's trying to build structure, especially you and I, the way that we used to travel. And then this is tossed into your lap that, hey, by the way, you need to not live like a slob. And you know, make something of your entire 8 days or 8 hours that you used to spend out of the day is, it's tough. It's been a month. And I mean, I guess I have some sort of an idea of structure down, but it's crazy. And then with the weather's nuts. So,
yeah,
you know, this time of year.
Well, when it's nice, it's great.
It's great.
When it's snowy and shitty, you're like, oh, man, because we don't live in a huge house. I mean, we're pretty close quarters. If we're all home, like.
With school
and everything going on. And then, you know, I used to have a bedroom in the office, or what I call the home office, that was totally dedicated to me. And now it's not anymore.
No.
That's just turned into a playroom. I totally moved all my shit out of there. It's packed up in the garage. So it's all good, you know. And it's funny. Like, I don't want this to come off wrong, but, like, I look forward to seeing you more than anybody, dude, because you're the only person I've seen in a while.
Two things. I'm a horrible teacher.
Yeah.
And then also with this distancing that we've been doing, it's the weirdest thing. So we had the past couple of weeks, my wife has been a little bit erring on the side of caution.
Sure.
About.
Dude, that's everybody, man.
Right, but you know, the whole time I've been kind of rolling my eyes at everything, going, this is gonna blow over, and we're gonna feel like fools, blah blah blah. And thank God for her, because otherwise I'd be out licking doorknobs and just like whatever, and who knows, man, I'd be hospitalized or something. But so this might be illegal, but we had our cleaner come over. Great dude.
Illegal?
Yeah, I don't know what's legal and what isn't anymore.
Right.
My neighbor wrapped me up.
You got to keep those people employed, though, man. In my opinion, like,
all that I've been saying to her,
as long as they're healthy. Like, tell me if you're not healthy. If you're gonna come over, to my house, please tell me if you're not healthy. That's all I ask.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I said to her weeks ago, I'm like, this place is kind of falling apart. Like, maybe we need to have our dude come over. So anyway, usually when he comes by, it's, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. We're going to dip out for 3 hours and whatever. He comes into the house, and I couldn't talk to him enough. Just like when I come in here and I talk to you,
right.
And I'm like, I've got a million things that I need to tell somebody other than my wife and my 2 kids.
Yeah.
I need somebody to listen to me. And it's different than, you know, jumping on the phone with somebody when you have that, like, face-to-face. I'm convinced that when this does lift, there's going to be no work getting done for the first 2 weeks of everybody, because everybody's just going to have to acclimate to getting back to normal and talking to one another, and it's just going to be a weird time.
Yeah, it's going to be strange. I mean, that's one reason why I had you on the podcast is, you know, I wanted to introduce you to our listeners, and you're such a great guy, and, you know, we'll end up spending what, an hour and a half here after the thing's all over, and we're
How
just
many
like,
times am I texting
yeah,
my
like-
wife going, "Oh shit, that was 45 minutes ago. I said I was going to be there in 15."
right,
Just throw it in the microwave.
crazy, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be weird times. This is optimistic me. This is me been locked in the house off the road for a month and just stir crazy. Like, couldn't be in a better place, couldn't be happier.
Yeah,
Totally,
I mean,
totally
there's
lucky.
a ton of good shit coming out of it. You know,
Totally lucky, but my God, it's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah,
I don't like this. I don't like the situation. I know that
I'm over
a
it.
lot of my friends are in. It's like,
yeah,
it's rough.
yeah.
So-
There's a lot of people that are in really bad situations right now, for sure.
Well, my brother's in construction. He's essential. My sister's a nurse. She's essential. My brother-in-law's a cop. He's essential. So like my immediate family is like in pretty.
Is your
brothers and
immediate
sisters
family all
are-
back on the East Coast?
They're
Because
on the East Coast, yeah.
actually, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and your background and what brought you to Colorado?
So you and I travel the country.
Yep.
And I had a job in Denver, and this is like 6 years ago when I came out here for the first time, and I was like, holy shit, this exists. I had never been out here before, and we wanted to move. We lived right outside of Philadelphia. I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, which is like 40 minutes northeast of Philadelphia, and when I grew up there, it was all just like rolling. It was suburban sprawl a bit, but then there were just farms forever. It was beautiful. And it's not like that now. And it was just getting overrun.
So you weren't in Philly proper. You weren't like in the city.
I grew up in Bucks County, and then
Okay.
I lived with a bunch of friends in this awesome farmhouse. We used to have raging parties, and that was until about I was like 22, and my one room, they sold that. The owners sold the house, and we had to, find somewhere to move within like 30 days. So my buddy and I were just like, why don't we move to Philly?
Hey, dude, sorry to interrupt you. Just pull the mic just a little bit closer.
How's that?
Yeah, that's way better.
And then, so I moved with my one roommate, Johnny, to Philadelphia, Northern Liberties, and lived there for 7 or 8 years. Met my wife, girlfriend, and then wife. Had a kid, and we were like, "Why do we live here? This is crazy. We can't live in the middle of the city with the infant and a toddler." And then we moved to the suburbs. And then with me traveling as much as I did, I was like, "Man, I can live anywhere." And then I was like, came here and I was like, drove through this great place. We should definitely check it out. We almost moved to Florida,
Right.
which is like the most bizarre thing ever.
That's like my same sort of. I mean, my
we're
story.
we're 7,800 feet. We're looking at like on the water, like
coastal.
walk out your door, coastal property
Yeah.
in Florida. And I was like, well, I got an idea. There's another place that maybe we should check out. And you can't breathe there, by the way. And and so we came here. And then
Well, it's funny because I grew up here,
Mm-hmm.
Small mountain town, and this place sucked when I was 19 years old. I had to get the hell out of here. I had to make it in the music industry and all this crazy shit. So up and moved to LA and was there for 20 years, met my wife, same sort of thing. But as soon as we had kids, it was like, oh, wait a minute. It's not all about me anymore, like maybe
Dude,
we should
out-
get the hell out of this big
out
city.
the window. So like where we lived outside of Philly was beautiful. It used to be a giant estate, and then they sold it. And they just built a bunch of houses on it, like in the early 1900s. And it was like right on the edge of North Philadelphia. If you're from the East Coast, like North Philly is, you've heard about North Philly. It's
Right.
like it can get pretty gnarly, pretty quick.
So I'm sorry, real quick
Yeah.
to interrupt you. How far is it from like Lidditz or something? Because I work a lot in Lidditz, Pennsylvania. It's like outside of Reading, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh no, so
It's a
that's
big
that's
rock
on
and
the
roll.
that's on the other side of Philadelphia.
Got it.
Yeah. So I'm on the I would be on the east side. That would be more west. And that's rural,
Oh, it's totally rural.
But
like
then-
Amish buggies going down
right,
the road.
but then you're saying Reading.
Yeah.
Reading's pretty gnarly too.
I've never been to Reading. I've been to
Don't go.
Lancaster and Lidditz a ton of times.
No,
Like,
no.
as many times as I've been to New York City, it
Lancaster's
feels
awesome.
like, yeah.
Lancaster's cool. We used to drive. I used to spend summers with my grandparents in Western Pennsylvania. We drive through that hour of cow shit smell
Yeah.
on the turnpike. Solid hour of just windows up, like circulating the air inside
Like
the
driving
car.
through Greeley.
Yeah.
Have you ever driven through Greeley? Oh, God, dude. Horrible place. I used to go up there and party because I had a bunch of buddies that went to college up there. And every time I went, I was like, man, this place smells like shit.
Yeah, that's what Lancaster smells like. But yeah, then we were on the edge of North Philadelphia, and then it was weird. My inside of 1 week, the kid across the street from me got robbed at the bank. 17-year-old kid, total sweetheart, nice dude, mowed lawns.
Like he robbed the bank or he got robbed?
He was at the
bank?
ATM and got a gun pulled on him.
Oh, okay, shit.
And it's like we're in the suburbs. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, this shit isn't supposed to be happening. And then some dude, some homeless dude got bludgeoned to death. It might be graphic, but like got beaten to death a mile down the road into the city from my house. And I'm like, and I drove past this place once a day. And I'm like, all right, like, if we can do this, I'm 38 at the time. And I'm like, I need to like do something. If I hit 40, there's no way I'm going anywhere. So like, I felt like that was going to be the cliff for me. So yeah, that was like, pulled up stakes, told my mom. She was super pissed. And then I dragged the kids away from her, the joy of her life. I brought them, tore them out of her hands. And dragged.
She's got to love visiting Colorado.
She does,
though,
but
right?
she doesn't like. She hates planes. She hates travel. And I'm like, I'm such a whatever. It's part of work, so it's like, it's not a big deal to me. So I'm just like, anybody who I talk to, I'm like, yeah, whatever. I got an extra bedroom. Like, just get on a plane, because getting on a plane to me is like, it's a commute. So It's not a big deal to me, and it is to any other normal person.
Yeah, if you don't travel a whole lot, and especially now, it's gotten so. It used to be so much more relaxed. When I first started touring the world and all that stuff, you could just kind of come and go as you please. You could roll through. You could get on a plane completely hammered.
Yeah, you were doing that way. Well, I've done that, but like
now you got to watch yourself a little bit.
You were doing. I think when did you start touring?
So I graduated in 1998, and shortly after that, I think 99, I was cruising around more regionally with bands. And then, God, I think I moved to LA in 2000. It's right around there.
Yeah. So you've got like 10 years on me. At least 8 or 9 years on me. I was only cruising around from 2008, but like, and I'm all domestic. Your passport.
Yeah, I was
pretty
well.
abused.
I started domestic, and then it blew up, and I went all over the world. And then as soon as the kids were born, I went back to, staying as local or as close to home as I could. Just that comfort level of not being out of the country and like something being wrong with your family.
Dude, out of the country, everything goes wrong when I'm out of town. Power goes out. Dog shit's on the carpet.
Right.
Like, just name it. It all goes down when I'm out of town.
Speaking of your dog, man, he had to go to the vet the other day. I know that.
Yeah.
But what is he, a pit bull or something?
He's a giant.
He's
like 90
but
pound,
he's the friendliest guy in the world.
Sweetie pie of a dog. He's got hip dysplasia now, which is like.
And you've had him a while, right?
Like
you brought him from Philly to here.
Brought him from Philly, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's an old boy, and he's we're just making him cozy. He spends a lot of time by the fire. I try to get him out on walks, and like we get like halfway around the block, and he's like, "Nah, dude, fuck you." I don't know if you noticed, there's a fire back there that you pulled me away from that I'd like to get back to.
Yeah.
that's kind of.
I love those posts that you have of him just
Norman's
like laying
mentality.
by the fire, dude.
He's
like,
just he's a fixture in front of the fire. So yeah, he's awesome. And always get a giant dog if you travel. It's like if you knocked on my window or thought about breaking into my house, it's like having a great white shark on the other side of the window.
100%. And he's the same color and like everything, like the white
he's
facial marks and
terrifying looking.
Yeah.
And like if you made it through, it'd probably be a
he's
different
gonna
story.
chew your fucking face off.
No,
dude.
you think he's definitely going to, but like
He's gonna
you know,
lick your face off.
He might
probably.
lick your face off. Yeah, he's useless in that department.
God.
But yeah, he's kind of like a big warning sign. So yeah, if you're having a big giant scary dog when you're out of town a lot,
I got a little
is
scary
awesome.
dog. Like
They're good
he's
too.
well,
What is it?
he was born in a gutter. He's a mutt. He's Chihuahua and like Beagle mix or something. We don't really know what he is. His name's Joey. Dude, he'll just go apeshit on me sometimes. Like if I give him red meat, he gets super violent, dude. I don't know what it is, man.
They're
like
wolves.
even against
they
me.
were wolves.
I think he was a wolf at one point, or he had to survive like that. So I adopted him. But man, he's got, because of the Chihuahua, they got that high pitched like bark, and they bark at everything. And living up here in the mountains, you're dealing with wildlife, so anytime anything comes in the yard, like a deer's walking through the yard in the middle of the night, I know it.
Well, Norman's great. It's really entertaining because he was like a city dog, and we adopted him, and then we brought him out here, and there's deer in the yard, there's elk in the yard, there's all kinds of stuff cruising through the neighborhood, and I feel like he wants to talk to me and just go, shit, have you seen these things? Oh my God, it's got horns coming out of its head.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's the size of a Volkswagen.
What kind of fucking dog bark is this?
It's right out. Don't go outside. It's right outside the window. Don't go out there. And he's just barking and going nuts all the time.
Yeah.
Very prey driven. So like, he freaks out whenever anything.
Did you ever feed him
comes through
like a full cheesesteak? Like just give him a
he's
whole
helped
one?
himself. No, he's helped himself to stuff, but like I've never. The first day that we brought him home, we were eating steaks, and our dog before him that we had for a number of years, and he got older and died. He would never take anything off any table, so it wasn't even a thought to us. So we had these big, like beautiful marbled, like ready to go on the grill steaks. Up on the counter, and I don't know why we left the room. We left it unattended, and I'm in the living room hanging out, having a beer or whatever, and my wife is just like, "What the fuck?" And I run in. I'm like, "What's going on?" Like there's a fire. One of the kids is injured or something like that, and there's Norm sitting there like choking down really like fast. The rest
Just
of this
a big old raw steak, huh?
big,
Yeah.
gnarly, giant steak. And he couldn't get it down. He knew that I was cruising in, and he was just struggling. Oh, it was awesome. Dude, that's the worst part about these goddamn animals is that they are not there forever. And like,
yeah, it's rough.
Dude, my son's like worried about him, and I don't know how to.
Well, I'm
convey
going through
to
that
him.
right now. We just lost. We had my wife had a Chihuahua, like a full breed Chihuahua. He was, I think, a deer head or something like that. But this dude, he was so fat, man. He's the biggest Chihuahua you ever seen. He looked like a football, and he was the same color as a football. And his name was Major Tato, and I used to call him Potato, and she used to get really pissed off at me. But great dog, man. Super cool dog. But he passed because he lived to be like, I think he was 21 or 22 years old.
That happens?
Yeah. I mean, Chihuahuas live a long freaking time, man.
Dude, that's a commitment.
But Joey, now my other dog that's a real piece of shit. I love him to death, but he's a pain in the ass, man. He's an escape artist, all kinds of crazy stuff. He's always in trouble, some sort of trouble. He's
I
calmed
feel like
down
that
a
about a
little
couple
bit.
of my friends.
Yeah.
A real piece of shit, but I love him.
Yeah. 100%.
Always getting into trouble. Kind of an escape
You want to do
artist.
some name drops here
Nope.
or what? Okay.
Nope. No. I couldn't possibly do that. to
Yeah,
them.
I got some friends like that too. But anyway,
He knows who he is.
You're right.
Actually, if he hears this, he knows exactly who he is.
But yeah, anyways, we're Joey's starting to get some gray hairs now, so I'm like, with the mix, I don't know how long he's gonna stick around, and the kids have been like, so I bought a puppy, or I have a puppy online. And I was hoping that we could get it during the pandemic because it would be the perfect time to have a puppy. One of my buddies just got a Malinois or something.
Dude, what kind of a psycho? Like, that's obviously you get that dog, you know what you're getting into.
You're right. Yeah,
you talk
100%.
about escape artist and
those dogs
full
are so
commitment.
smart. Those are the Navy SEAL dogs, man.
That's like adopting a teenager with ADD. And like possibly a criminal record, and being like, no, I think I can harness the goodness in him and channel it into, he's gonna be on the straight and narrow. Trust me.
Not to mention, I think that they have like the sharpest teeth of all dog breeds. Like they're like literally like
they
these
climb walls,
gnarly thing. Oh yeah, these dogs climb freaking ladders. Yeah. They skydive. They scuba dive with them. I think.
They put goggles on them.
Yeah, and they like strap them to them and jump out of a freaking plane, man. It's crazy. Those dogs they're super athletic. They can jump like 12 feet high. I mean, it's insane. Like, they're smart.
You got to be like, I was listening to Jay this morning from the last podcast, and that's the kind of person that needs one of those. You and I, like, not so much.
Right. I need a bulldog.
Yeah, dude, I need like that. Are you sure you don't want to go out? Yeah. Like, kind of, all right, you can stay there.
So, yeah, anyways, I got a blue heeler puppy. And I don't know if you've ever had a cattle dog before.
No, dude, that's
super smart. I grew up with them. They're awesome dogs, man. Like, the most loyal, most, I guess, dependable, and they're just super smart, and they're just cool dogs. They're not very big. They're
cattle
great
dogs
for the
seem
mounts.
like a pain in the ass. Like,
but they're smart. I mean, if you take the time and spend time with them,
that's what I'm afraid of. Like, I like having a dumb dog, like a big lazy dumb dog.
Yeah.
is great for me. I'm trying to think of what a blue heeler looks like.
That's what the puppies look like, man. They're awesome. They're like white when they're born, and I've had red and blue heelers.
Wait, when do you get this?
What's that?
When is this?
So.
When's your blue
heeler because
dropping?
I don't want to get arrested for the stay-at-home order. But I got to drive all the way to Wyoming to get it. I'll just tell you that, and it's going to be very soon.
Dude, I drove to Wyoming.
It'll be after the stay-at-home order's over.
I drove to the border of Wyoming and Nebraska to get a cat for my daughter, and this is we talk about a dumb animal. This is the biggest. It's a ragdoll, so my daughter can just. What would typically probably be considered animal abuse, you can do to this cat. It just kind of just lays there. All instincts to run or fight or anything have been completely bred out of it. So it's kind of just a breathing bag of bones and hair. And my daughter I see her in the morning. I'm like, hey sweetie, how are you? Please leave Stanley alone. Don't chase him around. Be nice. And she's just like, I will. And she just grabs him, just flunk like a bag of sand right over her shoulder. Just flings him right over. Cat doesn't fight at all. Nothing. It's hilarious. Anyway, I drove. That's a haul, man. So we drove up there to take a peek.
Where'd you have to go? Cheyenne or?
No. Way past.
Okay.
So the road.
I'm only going to the border. They're actually going to meet me at the border because I was like, hey, if I go to Wyoming, I don't want to stay there.
No. We drove to the point. It is the weirdest thing in the world. So you'd think that the breeder would have told us that like your navigation is going to say, hey, welcome to Nebraska. Hey, welcome to Wyoming. So our GPS is going off because we were driving on the state road that is the actual dividing line. She lived 100 yards off of it. It's like, would have been awesome. I thought we were in the middle of nowhere. I thought we were lost. Welcome to Nebraska. I'm like, are you sure this address is right? What the fuck? We're in Nebraska. Yeah, right. And then it's like, welcome to Wyoming pops up. And I'm like, something's screwing with us. So anyway, I feel you. I drove way too far to get a stupid animal.
Cheyenne's actually not that bad. We used to go in high school to go get fireworks because I would never do that now, kids.
Be very careful about that now.
It was just different back then.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, this thing's going to be a problem.
No,
You're
they're
gonna-
not, dude.
you're gonna-
They're good dogs, man.
I'm sure they're good dogs, but you're gonna need to train this thing, and
Well, yeah, you got to train
it's
them.
gonna chew through your
Any-
wall. It's gonna hurt your kids.
No,
It's-
man. They
no?
don't. They're not like that. What you got to watch them around is it's going to be the deer and the elk. You're going to have to teach them, but they're super smart, man. They're super receptive. Like, look up Blue Heelers, like Frisbee dogs. They make like the best Frisbee dogs because they can jump high. They're super athletic. Like, these dogs are bred to like dodge a kick from a cow or a horse, right?
What?
Like, straight up, they'll fucking dodge it like they're fucking, you know, Muhammad Ali ducking a punch, or more like Mike Tyson ducking a punch or something like that, man. It's insane. These dogs are super receptive, and they're good. It's a good breed. And they look super cool. I mean, when they're born, they're like these white, just kind of fluffy,
Yeah, nothing.
little weird things, right? But as soon as they grow out of their adolescence, they kind of shed all that white hair, and they just turn into these beautiful, like, black and brown. They have like the spots around their eyes, and
Right.
they're not big, so they're easy to put in a car or a truck. Like, and they love to go. They love to be on the go.
Yeah.
That is one thing. Like, don't get one if you don't plan on taking your dogs with you. Like, our dogs now kind of go most everywhere that we go.
Dude,
But
I
They demand a lot of attention for sure.
So now I'm torn between whether we want to get like a big giant lazy dog like we have, or get something a little bit more active and everything. But like, dude, loading an animal the size of him up every time that we wanted to go anywhere,
Oh, these dogs.
total pain in the ass.
Yeah, I could see
You
that.
know, it was just
Blue Heelers, man, they'll jump fucking 12 feet. I mean, they'll jump into a fucking monster truck. If you ask them to, like, load it up.
Open up the sunroof. Get in there. Oh, this is perfect. This internet's super slow right now.
Oh, it's sucking so bad, man. And then the landlord turned off the fucking heat in the building. It's all right. We got these studio lights warming us up here.
I'll have a talk with him later and straighten him out. Yeah, this is totally isn't working. That's awesome though.
Yeah.
I'm
All
not
right,
look,
fuck
I'm not
it.
looking.
We don't,
I'm
we
not
don't need
looking
to
for,
watch Blue Heelers.
Yeah,
chase
not
frisbees,
chasing
dude.
frisbees.
Yeah.
No.
Everybody's so into that.
I'm bummed out. You know, just watching your dog fall apart. It's like,
Yeah.
that's a bummer. Hi, welcome to the Dogs Are Dying podcast. This is we're bringing you the lighter stuff in life during this pandemic.
Dude, he's not dead yet, man. Just keep posting pictures of him. I love seeing it. I love seeing pictures of people's dogs.
I
man.
know
It's
people
good
are
stuff.
having a difficult time right now, but let me tell you about my dog who's got hip dysplasia. I really want to lighten the mood.
But you should get a puppy before he's gone, man.
I think that's
it'll
on
help
the.
him enjoy his life a little. You know what I mean? Like towards the end of his life, like that's what we've
He's
done.
dog
is-
aggressive too. I didn't mention that.
Yeah, but
He'll
know. He'll
he
accept
knows.
it into the family.
He knows. I mean, if I was able to throw that
Like-
ball of fur in front of him and he didn't kill it, he'd
Poor
probably be okay.
fucking Joey, dude. Okay, we're gonna get off dogs here in a minute, but I love dogs. Poor
I know,
fucking
I
Joey.
could talk a day about them.
I adopted him, right? So I go to pick him up. And
Uh-huh.
when I adopted him, they're like, hey, do you have another dog at home? I was like, yeah, it's my girlfriend's dog at the time, which is now my wife.
Right.
They're like, you got to bring him in. We got to introduce him. You can't be having any sort of like crazy weird shit, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. He's a good dog. So I bring him in. Of course, Tato, the big fat chihuahua, is just like, you know, tongue hanging out. He's super chill. He's all good. We go through the whole thing. We get in the truck, right? I set them both in the front seat. I had like a Ford Ranger at the time. And Tato just looks over at him as soon as like I walked around, like shut them in the passenger door, started walking around the hood. And just as I was opening the driver door, he just picked this fucking poor puppy up by the neck and threw him on the floor mat on the passenger side and was like, bitch, this is my house, you know? And it was like that forever until, I don't know, one day Joey snapped, you know, and then he got super aggressive, and he's still aggressive.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And you know, around the little kids, I'm sure he's fine around the kids though.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's super protective. He just, he's a real piece of shit, man. He doesn't like to be, he doesn't like to be told what to do. So I just don't. I'm just like, hey, it's time to go outside, and he's like, he'll growl at me, and I'm like, all right, well then just stay inside. I don't give a shit.
It's an enchanting animal. It's great.
But when he
funny.
wants to love you, he loves you to death. It's funny.
Yeah, well, just getting him out to move around and everything in the snow is like difficult, and we're about to get whacked again.
Especially
So,
if they're a short-haired dog. That's
Dude,
not
he's like,
meant
what?
to be
He's like, what are you crazy? Do you
Yeah.
see what I've got on me? Like,
Exactly.
but yeah, speaking of, we're all the resorts are closed, and we're about to get hit with a nice spring storm, which would be pretty sweet to go and maybe use
Hit the mountain or something?
hit the mountain and use.
Did
this
you buy a season pass this year?
I bought a bunch of 4-packs and stuff.
Well, that's smart, dude, because there's
Well,
Think
they're going to be good for next year.
Yeah.
So that's fine. But it's like, when the lockdown and like all the gigs and everything started coming to a halt, I was like,
the first thing you want to do is go skiing.
I was
or,
like,
get outside. Like,
I'm going to be really good by the end of this season. It's like, shit, man, this is going to be great. I'm going to be a total ski bum and just
right.
This will be my job. This will be my new job. I'm going to be fit. I'm going to be a good skier. And no lie, 6 days after, I was out for 4 of those 6 days. 6th day.
Shut it down.
By the way, we're shut it all down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is
So
awesome.
I don't know. What have they done? Have they refunded anybody's like season passes?
I don't know if they're doing season
anything,
passes,
or,
but like the
I
4
bet you
packs are
there'll
gonna
be
transfer
something
over.
for next year. It'll be some sort of incentive to like, hey, we know you got fucked last year, so if you had a season pass last year, you'll get a discount if you buy one this year. Because
I don't
dude,
know.
they're
and
gonna be struggling, man.
they're gonna, well, that's the thing. They're relying on selling these passes. So like, you got to honor these things from the year before while you took this whack.
I don't think they'll.
I don't know how
I don't
that's
think
gonna
they'll
work.
honor them. They'll probably give you some sort of discount or something.
No, but the 4 packs are honoring.
Oh, okay, yeah, there
so
you go.
it's like,
well, they should.
well, yeah, they
it's
should,
a
but they
fucking
should.
4-pack, dude.
They should, but they shouldn't. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like, it's a business, and I get it.
Yeah,
So if they were like, "Yo, listen, we didn't see this coming either. Sorry."
yeah,
I
it's
kind
not
of get
their
it.
fault.
It's
right.
not. It's nobody's fault. None
Yeah,
of this shit's
exactly.
anybody's fault. So I feel, and especially where we are, like small town, like when I feel like being brave and going out and risking being shamed by people for leaving the house, I just drive through town. And I'm like, oh my god, I just hope,
Are you doing the mask thing?
dude.
I like it, dude. I like going straight gangster. Like, give me that fucking mask. I'm gonna get like. I've always wanted to be a bank robber. I mean,
A gangster.
yeah.
Ever since I could remember, I always wanted to be a gangster.
That's what happens when you grow up in the mountains, dude. You
Yeah.
always just want to be a gangster. You want to be a city gangster.
I
As a kid, not anymore.
No.
I could give a shit about that. now.
I drove to the food store. I got a big long list of stuff. I drove to the food store and I had bandanas and stuff. And I sat in the parking lot for 25 minutes. No lie. Sat in the parking lot for 25 minutes surveying the amount of people that were going in and out wearing masks and not wearing masks. Because I'm like, I felt like I was participating in a sport that I didn't like playing. I was just like, I feel like, I don't know. I should just adhere, play along. Yes, got it. I'll wear a mask. All good. But my mom called me and I'm sitting there talking to my mom about it. And I was in King Soopers parking lot for 25 minutes, just on the phone, thinking about it. And then I was just like, you know what, screw it. I got a short list. I just charged in. No mask. Total alpha. Grah.
Were people
Can't
all
get
over
me.
your shit or
No,
what?
dude.
Really?
Half of the people there was this is a really if you enjoy comedy, I mean,
I love
and
comedy.
dark comedy, like this is a great time to be alive. Like I feel terrible for anybody who is
Sorry, you folks that are watching.
Yeah.
We're drinking tonight.
I feel awful for anybody. Obviously, I feel like it's stupid that I have to put these disclaimers out there, but I feel terrible for anybody who's affected by it, be it their family or them personally, or if they're a nurse or doctor or a garbage man or fucking whatever. But obviously that goes without saying. But if you can go into a food store and see all the yahoos shopping, it is gold. Like used to think going to
Dude,
the
I'm
mall
doing
and
the
people watching
shopping
is
for, like-
awesome.
Yeah.
I watched some chick walking around. She had a full-on sweatshirt tied up like a full
Like a turban?
Dude, a full turban made out of a sweatshirt, and the knot was like on her forehead, so it was like it was like a bow like wrapped on her head, and she's cruising around King Soopers. I'm like, so of course, because I'm a dick, I'm
Take a picture of it?
I'm taking pictures and I'm shooting them over to my wife, and I'm like, this is what you're missing
you
right
post
now.
it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to. I mean, not that you can see her face.
Right.
You just got a sweatshirt wrapped around. And then you've got like people who are just not comfortable with it. So like half the time they've got it down, half the time they got it up. And I'm like, none of this. It's like you're all playing ball, but like nobody was adhering to anything.
Sure.
And a food store is the biggest petri dish in the world right now. Like you're not allowed to go to your
Hey,
favorite.
shout out to all the workers that are working there, man.
Dude.
Like they're fucking working crazy hours, trying to keep everything stocked.
Crazy hours.
Everybody's pissed off.
Everybody hates him. Everybody's judgmental. Everybody loves him. Everybody hates him. Everybody's sticking up for him. Everybody's shitting on him. It's like they can't win no matter what.
And not to mention they're like, oh yeah, we compensate them. The companies are like, oh, we gave them a $2 raise or something. And I get it. The companies can't bend over backwards to, I mean, they make that wage because it's what sustains the business, right? And makes grocery prices so they're not astronomical, right?
Yeah, it's like anything else.
But the federal government should be kicking in something. That should be fucking hazard pay, in my opinion. Like some sort of hazard pay. Like they're calling it hazard pay, but an extra $2 an hour, what is that going to get you? A fucking gallon of milk at the end of your shift? You know what I mean? Like,
you turn that.
Come on,
turn
dude.
that money machine up to like 8.5.
Yeah.
It's like.
I wonder if
it's
they get dibs on
7.8 now.
groceries though. Like,
I don't know.
I wonder if they're stockpiling toilet paper and shit.
But it's. But I don't know. Maybe they do.
Yeah.
But
That'd be smart.
Dude,
like
that
a backdoor toilet paper ring, you know?
that first trip was a trip. It was just like, I'm not doing this. We were there at like 6, trying to do the right thing. The kids are in bed. We're like, Mommy and Daddy are going out shopping.
Right.
We'll be back soon. Just stay in bed. That whole thing. And there's a line out the there's a line out the store, and Erin's saying to me, she's like, well, we better get in line. And I'm like, I'm not standing in line.
That's the worst
I won't
place
stand
you
in
can
line.
be. Yeah.
I'm
Just
like, look at all
let
these
everybody
people.
go
No,
in.
let them go in, and we'll cruise in, and then we'll interact with them there. Which is what it's the whole thing's so screwed up, man. I don't know. This is the part where I start running my mouth with like how unimpressed.
Well, let's
I
get
am.
off that.
With
change
how
of
unimpressed I
subject
am.
because I'm sick of talking about COVID-19. That's all I hear about. I wanted to do something different tonight. You're such a great person and a great addition. And I'm so thankful that you're helping me out with this thing. And I think it can be better timing for what you and I do in our normal life or what used to be normal. And that's come to a fucking screeching halt. So,
Dude, did you get that first email and you were like, oh, fuck.
No, I knew it was coming.
Your gut just kind of dropped. Yeah, I kind of saw the writing on the wall, but it was really when I got that first, you're supposed to be somewhere in 3 days. Yeah, don't bother. That's when I was like, oh, no. And
yeah,
then
it's
like
kind of weird.
2 days later, three more weeks just disappeared off the books. It's like,
it's crazy how time is flying, though, right? Like, I don't even know how long we've been in whatever fucking lockdown or whatever. Has it been over a month?
It's got maybe not the official lockdown, but the is this us getting off of the COVID-19 thing?
Well, we're back on it. It's hard not to be.
It's hard not to be.
I apologize. This is happy hour, so we're fucking getting it all out. We're gonna go home. We're gonna sleep great tonight. It's gonna be awesome.
No, but yeah, it's weird because it's been. I guess I could probably find the email, but it was like, yeah, it's been a month. It's at least been a month, you know, that at least I knew that I wasn't going anywhere, that I was being planted here, and this is life now. So,
Right.
And then I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? I got to scramble. I got to figure something out. And then there was nothing. It's not even if you wanted to. It was like if you did have something, it was like.
No, you could go work at a grocery store, and
Possibly.
I know a lot of friends
Yeah.
that have had to do that.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, "Shit, man, I'm fucking stocking shelves at night."
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's sad.
that was the that
And
was
just
the
think
option.
about it. It's not. I mean, our industry's taking a huge hit, but it's fucking across the board, dude. There's so many yoga studios, jiu-jitsu studios. My wife runs a ballet studio,
Mhm.
and I mean, thank God that we have people that still have jobs and can afford to either donate money, or some people have just said, hey, we're still going to pay our tuition, which is totally awesome. We live in a great community. We couldn't be in a better place. Like, it's just, we're very fortunate, man. I'm
It is-
really glad
it
that
is
you're
very-
not in
it's
fucking
very-
downtown Philly,
it's
and
very,
I'm not in
uh,
downtown LA,
It's
man.
very different.
Yeah.
It's very different because like it's almost like everyone's out to be like, how can I be
100%.
how can I be better than I was yesterday? How can I perform better than I was yesterday? It's like to the point. I'm a cynical Northeasterner. I moved out here with my kids because I didn't want them to be like me. Because all that I do is I try to go, all right, what's their angle?
Right.
They're up to something. I get it. Though, nah, not at all. You're not nice. You're up to something. That's where I'm at.
Speaking of up to
Stop
something.
it. You're up to something. I get you. I got you figured out. That's where
Right.
I'm at. And I'm
Well,
like,
that's what you do as a parent, right? Because you think about all the fucked up shit that you did as a kid, and you're
Totally.
like, I got you figured out. But do you really?
no. But
I
that's-
think that you and I are probably on that.
I think it's regional too, though. Like,
Right.
I think a lot of the people that I interact with here, I'm like, we're watching two different movies.
Sure.
You know, like I've just been.
This is such a melting pot, though. Even though it's
It really
small,
It really is.
it's crazy. Like, a bunch of the kids that I went to high school with don't live here anymore, man.
Yeah.
They're gone.
Yeah.
Like, I never run into people. Like, very seldom do I run into people
Dude,
where
you're
I'm
the
like,
only person I know from here.
really?
Like, they grew up here.
Okay.
You're the only one.
I'm sorry.
I got. I feel ripped off, frankly. No, I've got Nebraska friends, Texas friends, California friends, like a lot of Nebraska.
There's a ton of Philly people here, and
That's weird. I haven't
I
found
find
any of them.
myself gravitated. I always have. When I lived in LA, it was just weird how it worked out. A lot of my friends were East Coasters.
Yeah.
A lot of my friends were from
I'm sorry.
Northern Cal, like,
Yeah.
and maybe it was just the punk rock scene that I came up in, and reggae rock, and not so much reggae rock. That was more California, Colorado, but the punk rock scene for sure, and rock and roll. I mean, the hardcore stuff,
Yeah.
coming out of New York and the East Coast was just, it was a different animal.
Mm-hmm. Well, I lived in Philly, or outside of Philly, so it was like Warped Tour would cruise through Camden every year. Did you do that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
God,
like,
Warped Tour was like the best thing when I was a kid, man. Because I actually hated punk rock music at one point because I
Uh-huh.
was like a metalhead, right? Like, I was like into metal, and there were a ton of kids that moved out of LA in the 90s
right.
because it was so gang ridden and all this crazy shit was going on there, and the riots, and it was right after the riots. So all these kids from LA moved into my hometown, and they were buying 3 times the house. They were living in mansions, right? Cool kids. So I got along with them really well because I was into skateboarding. I was into all the shit that you do in a city.
Mhm.
I was trying to do in the mountains, which doesn't really work out, right? But these kids were like, oh, you got to listen to punk rock music. And I always kind of stood my ground. I was always like, man, that shit sucks, dude. Like, it's horrible. Because
Yeah.
I'd only listened to recordings. And they're like, no, you got to go to a show.
Go to a show, yeah.
You got to go to a show.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of older friends at the time, and they snuck me into a venue that was in downtown Denver. And they're great fucking venues, man. Like, they were all these old porno theaters that they turned into live music venues. And the only people that they could really book in there were like punk bands and local bands. And like, so it was a weird mix. Like if you went there one night, it'd be some sort of like jam band that was trying to be Grateful Dead that was from here. And then the next night it would be an LA hardcore, like fucking Dead Kennedys or something like that. Right. But you're in a 1,000 capacity venue, right? 2 stories, and it would fucking go off. And it was just a great time. But that's where, as soon as I saw it live, I was like, that was a flip of the switch. I was like, okay, now I can listen to these shitty recordings. And it reminds me of being at the show.
Yeah, exactly.
It's way better at the show, right? So.
Yeah, you're not going to turn anyone on to that stuff just listening to it. You got to like actually,
you gotta
that's not
experience it
unless you're 15 and you're like, I just like things that are shitty to be contrarian, kind of like to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah,
you know, my dad's like, dude, the Eagles are just the shit. Like he's trying to turn
the Eagles are the shit.
I know.
Yeah,
trying to turn me on to good music. Yeah, whatever. He's trying to help me out, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, Dad. You know, because I am 15 and I need to be a dick. So, and then I go and I listen to like Minor Threat or something, and which is not good music.
It's great music.
It's great music, but it's not good music. It's great for a different reason. Yeah. And now, it's so funny. I just saw oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to admit it. I paid like $150 for a ticket to see the Eagles in Phoenix. Like when I was there like 2 years ago. My buddy and I were there.
But it's different now, man.
No, and I'm sitting up in the balcony and I had a beer and I was like, this is great. And that's how I like to see shows now.
Right. Not me, man. I still like to get in the mosh pit, dude. And we're gonna get some punkers on here. Speaking of punkers, did you see our Rick Thorne shout out the other day?
No, I couldn't get the volume on it. I don't know how Instagram stories work.
Okay, so it was weird. Rick Thorne, shout out to Rick Thorne. I'm hoping you're gonna come on the show because I've been talking with him a little bit. But so anyways, he did this like. I think he called it 50 at 50 or something, right? Like he went to some skate park, right?
Yeah, and I know he's doing,
Like I follow him on Instagram. So his whole thing, and I've known him for a little while, but his whole thing during this whole COVID thing, just being Mr. Rick Thorne, Mr. Punk Rock, has been stay rad.
Yeah. Right. Doesn't he have a tattooed like on his throat or something? Like,
I don't know. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
He's got all kinds of shit tattooed all over himself. But anyways, he went to the skate park, and he's 50 years old now, you know? Yeah. He's got fucking 10 years on us.
Yeah.
And he totally ate shit, and his nose was all fucking busted up. So he's, like, in his car on the way home, like, doing a selfie video while he's driving, like, his van. Hey, motherfuckers, I know we're in quarantine or whatever. I don't know. You could probably pull it up. But
I can on the shitty internet.
Yeah, fuck it.
Stupid thing.
So anyways, he's like, yeah, stay hard and da-da-da-da-da, whatever, or something like that. Or I can't remember exactly what he said. But anyways, it was just cool. I was like, in light of all of this shit, he's out cruising around LA, riding his bike, just doing whatever. Like today, he posted a picture and he had a mask on. And it just said, stay away. Like he fucking graffitied it all, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's because shit. But he can't have anything else written on his black shirt.
Right. Yeah. But anyways, he gave us a shout out. I don't know how the fuck he heard about the podcast or whatever. Or I think I might have, I don't know. I think I shared that post and then he reshared that we shared it.
So you gotta show
or some sort of shit.
So
but that was cool.
It was funny when you sent that to me because so me like 14 or 15, no driver's license, no nothing. My parents threw me and my friends' bikes all in the back of like their Dodge Caravan or something. Like we maxed this thing out, and we used to go to Pennsylvania Fair in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, and outside of Philly, and Rick used to go around with the Sprocket Jockeys, which was Matt Hoffman, Dennis McCoy, Keith Trainer, Jay Miron. I'm sure I'm forgetting people. Rick Thorne. So anyway, no social media, no nothing. Magazines.
Old school.
Old school, dude.
That's how I used to look at naked
Super-
chicks magazines, dude.
Under a pile of leaves in the woods. And then and all that you had to do was be on a BMX bike, standing by the fence, like within view of the quarter or the half pipe, the mobile half pipe that they had. That was Matt's. They used to go all over the country with it, and we're pounding Rick into the ground. But like I'm a 15,
He's a cool dude, man.
I'm
in my opinion,
I'm 15.
Punk band, punk rocker. He's got good fucking songs. He's keeping it real,
Dude.
Like. Why not?
Who's riding harder?
At 50,
At
I'm not
50
going to
than
be in
that?
a skate
Me
park, dude. Doing on
No,
a
dude, I
skateboard,
follow him.
like, yeah.
He's a hard dude, and he spotted me and four of my friends that my parents are out going and getting like cotton candy and whatever at the fair, and we're all standing on the other side of our fence because we got our bikes and we like want to bring our bikes in, and like it's a whole thing. And dude, he's like, fucking dudes on bikes. So he like jumps off the ramp, runs over to the fence, pulls his fence up, and me and four of my friends throw our bikes underneath.
See, that's why he's rad. That's
the
why
realest
he's rad.
shit.
In
That's
my
the realest
opinion.
shit.
Yeah,
Really, like it's funny that like
he's a for real punk rocker, man. Like
10 seconds. I'm 42 years old, and I will talk about those 10 seconds of that dude. I never forgot it. That dude running across a parking lot with a full face helmet on and everything, putting on a show. He runs over 50 yards away, pulls up a fence, sneaks us in, and then goes on and does the show. It was like, that's one that goes in the memory bank. Like that's like one of the more real moments.
that's a life changer, right?
Oh, totally,
Because
totally.
then all of a sudden you're like, I'm a Rick Thorne fan for
not
life,
even
dude.
not even a fan, but it alters your perception for better or for worse.
Sure.
It probably didn't make me a better student, but it definitely
but that's just
sent
being-
me on a
That's just
a
being cool
trajectory,
to.
yeah.
That's
No,
being cool to
cooler,
other
yeah.
people and sharing. I mean, I think so many people get put in that situation or put on that pedestal, and they turn into assholes. And I get it, right? Because there's always somebody that wants to take a picture with you.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that wants your autograph. There's always somebody that wants this, that, whatever, you know?
Well, that's why I think I'm lucky. So like I think you're lucky because you got to see the world, but you also got to meet all the dicks. Like you got to have your heroes ruined for you probably.
100%.
And
like,
and I didn't get that. I travel and I do what you do, but like I meet corporate guys who I'm already like I don't even understand what they're saying. So like whatever. I just you know none of this matters. My immediate thing matters, and then I'm off on my own for 4 days, and then I
Sure.
tear it all out and split. But like dealing with rock and roll, and then dealing with managing bands and shit like that. It's like, man, you're intimate with them and touring. It's like that's gotta.
I've definitely had my moments. And people that I thought were going to be, like, I was excited to work for, and I won't name drop anybody, but like people that I was just like ecstatic, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, my mom listened to these guys, so like,
Eagles.
this is it.
This is Don Henley.
My
If you're
mom-
listening,
I'm not naming names here, but like, you know, my mom was like ecstatic fans of these people, so it was like me proving to a single mother that I grew up, and I was kind of the man of the house because I didn't know my dad, you know, and my siblings' dads were pieces of shit, and I'll say that out loud to their face.
right?
But, you know, my mom being a single parent, and then I finally made it being a Colorado kid that grew up in a small mountain town that, like, some of my family has never even seen the ocean,
Yeah.
and they have no desire to leave. And I was like, I want to go see the world. And they were like, what the fuck is wrong with this kid, dude? I think he's on drugs. And
Stay here.
I probably was.
Yeah.
But, you know, as soon as I made it to that point where I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna go tour with a band that my mom has their vinyl records
Right.
in her record player
Right.
still, and like idolizes these people, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah. And I was like, this is going to be awesome, right? Like, I finally made it. Like, Mom, you're going to be so proud of me, you know? And I get out there, and I quit in the first 2 fucking weeks.
By the way, Mom,
Yeah.
they suck as people.
Yeah. I mean, I guess coming up in the punk rock scene and all that sort of shit, and, like, the way that I did is I didn't take getting disrespected very lightly. And it got me in a lot of shit. I spent some time in jail because of it. You know what I mean? It's something that I'm not proud of, but you know, it was just different. Like I've just never. I'm a mirror. You treat me good, you know me. I'm a nice person. I'm gonna treat you good. You know what I mean? But if you treat me like shit,
Guess
fuck
what?
you. Yeah. See you later. You know. But yeah, that was heavy hitting, you know, because my mom was like, and I think I was actually in Philly when I quit too, or somewhere, Cincinnati or some shit.
Where have you where did you work in Philly?
I did a bunch at the arena there, and then I've done Jay-Z's festival, that Made in America, for the last couple years. Like
Yeah, like on the Parkway.
Right. And that's crazy, dude, because it's in the middle of summer and it's normally hot as shit. And then they turn off all the sprinklers in that park for like 3 or 4 days.
The park, it's the Parkway. It's all the way from City Hall. all the way
it's
to the art
on the
museum.
Rocky
It's insane.
Steps. It's huge, right?
It's insane.
And normally we're dealing with like, I don't know. I think there's like 6 or 7 stages that we deal with there. So it's just like it's just a lot to deal with, you know?
Well,
It's
everything
not-
there,
it's
everything
not
there's
fun
lots-
anymore.
No, everything there's a lot to deal with. So, you know, the heat's a lot to deal with. The traffic, the people are a lot to deal with.
The
union's a lot
crowds,
to deal with.
yeah.
The crowd's a lot to deal with. It's just like that's such an undertaking.
Those poor Philly paramedics and firefighters and police, man, they got their hands full.
Dude, it's only getting weirder.
Yeah.
I feel like I pulled the chute probably right at the perfect time. I just kind of saw the writing on the wall, and I was like,
Right.
I feel like I used to drive. I used to go downtown, go to clubs, blah blah blah, go back up Bucks County. But at a certain point, now you can't do that. It's just everything's too small. There's too much congestion. It's just it's not what it used to be. And
Sure.
you know,
I think every place is like that, though, because, like, even here, growing up in a small mountain town, this place is not the same. Like, when I grew up here, we didn't have Walmart.
no, that's why I want to ask.
We didn't legalize weed, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's good and bad things, and
That's why
about that, right?
That's what I
Like-
want to ask you about. Because
Okay, this is your show now. Go.
It's my
Take
show.
it. You're the
Hey,
host.
it's Bobby. Bobby, it's great to have you. What was it like when Walmart landed here and when Home Depot landed here? And how long ago was that? 'Cause
I
it was-
actually wasn't here for the Home Depot.
Right.
I was up and gone. I remember Walmart, and that was a big freaking deal because if you wanted anything cool as a kid, you had to
go
drive
down the hill.
all the way down the hill to get it, right?
Right.
If you wanted McDonald's, you had to go down the hill.
Really?
And I think McDonald's might have been the first thing that came here. And I haven't touched McDonald's in probably 10 years now.
Well, you haven't lived.
I literally haven't given them $1. I mean, maybe my kids have and my
Yeah.
wife, right?
Yeah.
Whatever. Go use the playground and get an ice cream or whatever. But yeah, that was weird, man. There actually
But what was that intersection there? What was it, that hub at 70 and 74?
It was just the El Rancho at the time.
That's it.
That's it.
And then
It was-
everything.
And it wasn't even a brewery. It was just like this shit bag. It was a bar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what was up here. The little bear was here.
like when you get when you keep on going west. It's like what you would see when you would jump it off
Exactly.
at the other
like Idaho
exits.
Springs. It was just bars and there's bars and there was mom and pop restaurants, I guess.
Right.
And I think Bojo's was in Idaho Springs, but that was their only location.
Right.
Now they have like 20 or 30 different spots.
Right.
And I'm hoping they stay in business because they're cool people, and it's good food. It's reasonably priced.
I feel like where I was, so like I go back there, like twice a year. Sometimes I surprise my mom if I'm like if I'm going to work in New York, I'll go fly into Philly and go and surprise my mom.
That's awesome.
And then take the train to New York or whatever. And but then I go back and I'm like, man, I used to be able to go 70 miles an hour down the main strip, and I did. Right or wrong, but you could hammer it. You could race cars up and down the main strip.
Sure.
And now it's like 10 o'clock at night and you're doing 35 miles an hour and stop and go. There's 10 more stoplights than there used to be. And I feel like it was just when that Walmart went up that was it.
Well, that's kind of how I felt about it here. I mean, there was, I guess, growing up, and maybe it's just because I've been gone so long and then came back, but I felt like there was a lot more natives here, or maybe I just thought everybody was natives because I was a kid. My perception was a little bit screwed. But yeah, I just always thought that it was really strange. Like in the 90s, all of a sudden there was this huge influx here.
It's crazy.
And there was always famous people that lived in the mountains, and so it was really weird because that
was farther west though, right? Like that was more in the resort areas.
No, not so much though, because being 30 minutes from Denver or an airport, and I mean that's one reason why I moved back here is for what I do normally, I have to be an hour away from an airport or my life's gonna suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's why I moved here.
Or I would be even deeper. I'd be living in Steamboat or something like that. I'd be deeper in the mountains.
It's literally Google Maps is when I pull out of my driveway to DIA West parking is 1 hour on the dot. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's not 59 minutes. It's not an hour and 1 minute. It's 1 hour.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
That's awesome.
And that was the goal. It was like, I'd like to be an hour from the airport. And I end up literally an hour, like to the minute. It just
That's manageable. When you're like 2 or 3 hours, or like if you live in a rural place like Steamboat, which is fucking awesome, or, any of those other like remote mountain towns that are away from a big city, you have to hop. I mean, it turns into like if you're going to the East Coast.
It's your entire day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not to mention you're less likely to get hired. Like not so much.
Well, it's more expensive to get you there. I mean, for sure.
Yeah, because you're so remote. Like I have some people that I'm really good friends with and stuff that have moved to these super remote places that are in rock and roll, but it's very seldom that they have to fly out of their hometown because they're gone for 3-6 months at a time, right?
Yeah.
So rock and roll is entirely different. For what I do now, it's like you need to be an hour from an airport that's accessible where you can get direct flights or even international, like if you're going to London or something, like you need to be in a major hub.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that the world's come to that because like in the 80s, it wasn't like that. Planes were different, people were smoking cigarettes and like had 4 feet between them. Now
it's the good old days.
God
is what
damn,
I call
dude,
it.
If you get parked next to a big guy like me, you're fucked.
A big guy like
you're
you,
gonna be uncomfortable,
dude. I'm a big guy. Like I'm a problem in a seat. Like I'm the one sitting there going, "I'm really sorry."
Yeah, you're a huge guy on a plane.
I'm really sorry you got parked next to me. Like I'm pouring over the seat.
Yeah.
Where, you take it back a couple of decades. I would have had a Lucky.
Fortunately,
and a
though,
bourbon.
you and I fly enough that we're probably you have status, right?
I do.
Probably
but
not after this year.
It doesn't. Well, I actually got an email that they're extending it into 2021, but the it doesn't matter now anyway. Once all the mergers hit and everything, it was just like, good luck. I used to fly first class all the time, and now it's a joke in our text thread that I have with me and all my buddies that like, hey, guess what, dickhead? I got upgraded, and we're all like, what? Holy shit!
Well, now you can buy like double dick down, triple dipped platinum or whatever the fuck it is, right? And you can buy that for like $1,200 or whatever the fucking price is, right?
Yeah, but it's like, if in my case where I'm not splurging for the travel, it's like I'm not putting $1,200 out so I can possibly get upgraded.
So I can go to work.
And so I can go to work. It'd be like buying a luxury car. I probably should. And I'm inconveniencing all kinds of people. But
Speaking of that, let's change the subject. Let's get into Porsches, man.
Porsches.
This episode is all about Jeremy right now, okay? This is introducing Jeremy, Porsche enthusiast.
I'm a car enthusiast, and
Yeah.
I ended up with one of those.
Okay.
But I
And let me just
more-
say this.
it's more
Let me-
bourbon.
I need to clear the air. To make it clear, this is why I love Jeremy. I have a ton of friends that have badass cars and badass toys, and they live in a fucking garage. Jeremy's does not. It gets used. One of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen is it's the middle of December. Christmas is coming up, and I'm driving down the road, and I pass Jeremy and wave at him, and he's got a fucking Clark Griswold Christmas tree tied to the top of his fucking Porsche, like with his kids in it. It's a snowstorm. It's fucking awesome. Everybody drives 4-wheel drives here. Nobody does that. I think that's rad.
I'm deathly afraid of kicking the bucket and my kids forgetting who I am. And like, I don't ride BMX bikes with my 6-year-old daughter. So like, whatever, cars have always been a part of my life. I was a BMX kid, all the cool BMX guys had a cool car, whether it be a piece of shit or whether it be something really like cool if they had money. But like, if you had, I feel like BMX and cars always, they just ran parallel to one another. And so we always have Volkswagens because they were cheap and you could hook them up and make them look rad. And
Like the Baja buggies, or
no.
Yeah.
Water cooled, make one. I had a Rabbit, a Scirocco. So that's like, it was a no brainer.
Sure.
They all ran parallel to one another. If you're always doing your bike up, so if you got a little bit extra money, you got a cool Volkswagen and you hooked your Volkswagen up as much as you could your BMX bike, right? And that was your personality. So it's like a tattoo on you. Anyway, my dad had always had a Volkswagen Bug, and when finally I was traveling so much that I told my wife, I'm like, boy, I'd really love to own one of these cars one day, but I never drive anywhere because I don't commute to work. We drive our Subaru, our grocery getter. That's what we always drive. I'm like, boy, I'd really love to own one of these cars. And it was, at the time that I bought it, was the same price as a Honda Civic.
Why not?
Why wouldn't I? Because like, I don't put any miles on anything. So why not get the thing that I always dreamed about having, whatever. So yeah, that's how I ended up. I had like cheap BMWs and whatever. Never had a lot of money, but it was always like, no, it's just, I'll take that. It was always just like whatever was affordable and was cool and definitely expensive to fix.
Right.
And
'Cause
sometimes
Porsche are
unreliable.
not cheap,
No,
right?
but not Porsche, but like BMWs, stuff like
Sure.
that. But it was like you always wanted to be a little bit more gangster in what you moved up in. So like driving a Rabbit when you're like 27 probably isn't how it's not how you're gonna meet
Not
your
the
wife.
cool guy
It's
status,
not how
right?
you're gonna meet your wife. If you're
So
an
you got to upgrade to the Golf.
if
right?
you're an enthusiast, yeah, if you're an enthusiast and you meet another dude who's 27, he's gonna go, dude, that car is the shit.
Right.
But you're not picking any girls up with it. But yeah, that's what I got an affordable BMW that was pretty cool. Actually, my wife, so totally out of my league at 28, 27.
Mine too.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're in good company. I picked her up at right in front of her apartment. She goes, "Is this a Honda?" And I was like, "It's a fucking M3." It was right out of her mouth. She said, "Is this a Honda?"
Right.
And I'm like, "I've been cruising around in this thing for
This
like
is an Accord.
5 years. 5 years trying to find my life partner,
Right.
and I'm cruising around in this thing." And she
Just goes to show
accused
you
me of
that
driving a
doesn't
Honda.
mean fucking shit, dude.
Exactly. It doesn't mean
a
fucking.
thing.
It doesn't mean fucking.
That's all kid shit.
Could have picked her up on a Vespa, and I probably would have
Right.
made the same impression. But yeah, so anyway, like finally, I'm like, I definitely want to have one of these before I die. And she's awesome, and was like, well, we need another car, so like, yeah, whatever, go get it. And I flew to Atlanta and met the guy who owned my car.
But you were living in Philly at the time,
I was living in
right?
Philly, yeah.
So
I found
that car has went from. Sorry,
from-
just to be clear, it went from Atlanta to Philly.
went from Portland, Oregon, to
So you know the entire history of it from day one.
day
since
one.
It was
Yeah,
bought.
yeah.
Carfax.
Yeah, that's it. I've got a full
Carfax doesn't go back to
I've got a full Carfax.
1979.
No, dude, the full history and everything is
What year
it's
is
really
it?
cool. 1980, and
Dude, pull up a picture of it because I know I threw it on the dock there as under show photos.
really?
Yeah,
Oh wait,
and I actually have a picture of it, the Christmas tree on top of it.
no way.
Yeah,
That's
I do
hilarious.
my homework. I'm not.
It's just show
all right?
prep.
This is a fucking show, dude. We
This
gotta
is
impress
this is
people.
professional stuff, dude. Your eyes are so much better than mine.
Well, no.
What are you
it
doing?
Just goes super small. There. Oh yeah, there's. Oh
Oh my god, you're pulling all this shit from me.
yeah, dude.
Oh my god,
Good
this
shit.
is
good shit.
humiliating.
This is why
So-
I love Jeremy.
It's
No,
all-
get you and your kid
it's
in
all
the
this
car right
stuff.
there.
Here
You
we
and your
go.
kid in the car.
Where was it?
Like you guys are going down the road. I don't know.
This
who
is
the
a
fuck
this
took this picture.
dude. This is at the top of Pikes Peak.
Yeah, there you go. Go full screen on that shit.
Okay.
Go to the
So
green button. Yeah,
so I
that's
So-
fucking sick, dude.
so here's the thing.
What year is that?
1980.
That's the
So-
year I was born.
Yeah. I was born in 77. So here's the funny
You're
thing.
old as shit, man.
I'm fucking gonna die soon. So the cool so my big thing with and I'm like this with vintage BMX bikes and old shoes that I've kept since like 97 and cars is that like I love the aging on things and especially vehicles. So anyway, I got in this thing and it's it's a Volkswagen product.
Sure.
And the stuffing in the seats. So my dad had 71 Bug that he used to drive us everywhere in. We went up dirt roads, mountains. We used to do donuts in parking lots before we took us to school. It was awesome. I get in this car in Atlanta and I sat in. I'd never been in a Porsche before. But instead of, like I said, instead of buying a Civic.
So you flew there and then drove it home, or
No. I was
Okay.
afraid it was going to break down, so I had
Sure.
it shipped. But I get in the car and I looked at the guy and I started like welling up. My dad died in 2010, and I bought this in like 2014, and I got in the car and it smelled like my dad's Bug. It's so weird the way that your olfactory
it's weird
senses
how
work.
Bugs have like, because I grew up in Bugs too, and I never had one as a car. My first car was my actual first car. My first vehicle was a truck, and I smoked that motherfucker the first 6 months, dude.
Which it should be.
Yeah, but But my first car was a '67 Ford Fairlane, and it was fucking bad to the bone. We'll get into that later. I don't want to interrupt your story.
No.
Keep going, man. This is cool because not only are the listeners learning about you, I'm learning about you because we don't have time to just sit down and drink and have a conversation normally. Normally it's all business. We're doing this. We're doing that.
I've got another 5 hours left in my day. No,
What
but
time's your bedtime? Midnight.
whenever I fall into my bed. But it's really weird the way that your olfactory senses work. They always say that that's the most like sensitive, and you can remember times 15 years ago if you smell something. It's real weird.
Yeah,
But
and bugs do have a distinct
Dude, they
smell.
it smells like
Like you get in
oil.
there,
It
it's
smells like oil, exhaust, leather, and like horsehair. Like
Yeah.
weird stuffing in the
Dude, you just described that to a T. Because every bug I've gotten in, or an old school bug, you get in, you're like, yeah, now I'm in the bug.
No, all the air cooled stuff smells the same. So anyway, there's, I ended up, I got in it, and dude, I lost my dad 5 years previous, and I was just like, oh my god, I feel like I'm in the same room as him, because this is what it smelled like when he took me to school, and
Yeah.
I mean that right there, I was like, it's sold.
And you're doing that
this-
now for your kid, because I see you. I'm a fucking watchdog. You're a watchdog. I see you roll up in your bug.
Oh, dude, I'm drilling it in their
Or
head.
not
I'm
your
like,
bug, your Porsche. I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
Your Porsche.
it's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm drilling in their head. I'm like, your dad was cool. Smell this. Urgh.
Yeah.
Putting it right into their
But
head.
you're doing that, man. That's fucking rad. Because you're doing what you remember as a kid, and you're reliving your childhood a little bit through your kids.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
It's weird.
that was one thing about me moving back to my hometown, was like, okay, they're going to the same elementary school that I did.
Dude, how cool
It's
is that?
really strange. Like,
So-
there's this weird connection, and they love it because of that. Like my son got accepted into the GT program because he's super smart, which I never was.
I was just going to say, your wife must be like,
Yeah, he got
off
all
the
my wife
charts.
genes. Yeah, 100%. But they straight up asked him, "Do you want to go to this other school because it's more geared towards that?" And he was
Yeah.
like, "No, I'm staying at Wilmot
Yeah,
because
yeah.
my dad went there."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Fuck yeah, stick
Yeah.
with the dumb kids.
That's
They're
right.
cool as shit."
That's right.
Yeah,
You play with the kids who play basketball all day.
but really, man, I think that's freaking awesome, man.
No, I
I
think
think it's awesome.
I'm gonna kick at some point, and my dad like went downhill unexpectedly like early, and like I'm like shit, dude, I didn't appreciate it. If I hit 40 and he was still around, I'd have been like you know, you never see any 20-year-old Civil War actors. They're all older.
Sure.
So like,
And what does your
no,
dad do? Was he a Philly guy or
nah, Western Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
Combat medic in Vietnam, got
No shit.
exposed to Agent Orange, ended up getting cancer that was attributed to Agent Orange in 2010, and then just like downhill. Lived way longer than he should have with with what he had, but like, you know, like in your 30s and you're juggling kids and a wife and everything, and you're like, dad's gonna be around for a long time, and you're not really that interested, and then fuck, he's dying, and then he's gone. So I didn't really.
I think a lot of people take that for granted, though. It's just not.
It's such a weird thing.
I mean, even at any age, like.
So that's why I'm
Spend
sitting here.
time with your family, man.
That's why I'm
Straight
sitting.
up.
That's why every morning I wake up and I grab my kids by the collar and I tell them, I'm like, Daddy's not going to be around forever. And I give them, I sit them down and I yell at them. And
This is the harsh reality, but I'm gonna be dead someday. So listen up.
Listen up, kids. Dad's gonna die soon. So get your shit in order. Quit pissing me off.
Yeah.
And start appreciating me a little bit because I'm kind of cool. So
You are cool, man. You're
and
a
then-
good fucking
and
dad
I
too.
throw,
Like,
and I throw them in the back of the car, and then we go and get Christmas trees, and that's how
Yeah.
life is, you know.
yeah, but I know your kids love you. You can see it. Like,
Oh, they freaking better.
Yeah.
No, they're cool, and it's the same, and that's why you and I vibe so well together, because it's like, it's everything's water off our back, and it's just, we've been in weird building situations, and we've traveled, and
We've seen some weird shit.
we've just been like, this, there's no way this is happening.
Yeah.
And it's it's the shittiest thing in the world. It's funny because my friend and I talk about this all the time, because we envy military guys, because when you're thrusted into our situation, you kind of like, you know, there's that bro thing that happens with the crew, and then, but you're like, you're not committed like military people.
But it'd be cool for your kids.
But it'd be cool. But it'd be cool. It'd be cool if we had guns, you know, because you kind of get that
Because
thing
we kind
going.
of got all the stuff. We got the radios. We got the badass technology. We got
We got
rapid deployment. You got all this sort of stuff.
I can
Except
make-
we're not fast roping out of a Black Hawk helicopter.
we can make anything happen within 24 hours. Like, you feel like you're in it, but you're totally not. And you're such a rip off of the military, but you kind of feel like you're kind of playing it. But yeah, so you kind of want to make your kids appreciate.
I was
that.
fortunate enough with some of the gigs that I've done, because I've worked for some energy drink companies or beverage companies, and they're big supporters of the military for different reasons. But man, I've had some awesome opportunities
because
where
they
I've
want to
got
make it work in
Yeah.
different in remote parts of the
And
world.
those guys love
They want
that
to make
shit.
it work.
Yeah. And but man, I've had some really cool experiences just because of that. Like working in action sports, and then how that translates to military appreciation, or what, however that boils down. But man, I've just had some cool things that have happened with going to different military bases and getting to experience a lot of that, man. And meeting some really cool people. A lot of those people that take on that job and that are at that sort of level of either special operators or generals or colonels or public relations are some of the coolest people you'll ever meet, dude.
How big of a loser do they make you feel like? Because that's when I've met some of them, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, what have I been doing?
But I don't feel like that big of a loser, because a lot of those
No, they
guys
make you
envy
feel-
me. They're like, oh, well, shit, man, this guy's pretty fucking cool, too. He's been here and there, and, like, in our industry, we go to all the good places.
Yeah.
You know, like, even though I've been to the Middle East, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was on a protected base. The show that we did was, like, heavily guarded. There's big name celebrities there. So
Yeah.
when there's that sort of profile, normally you're protected. You know what I mean? They're not going to throw them right into the middle of Benghazi or wherever the fuck it is in Iraq where shit's going off. You know.
Let me tell you about the tour that I've done through Orlando.
It's all the same.
It was.
It's all the same. It all
I left.
turns into Groundhog Day.
I left a lot of good guys behind there. It was. It was all that you could do was hunker down and, you know, pray you didn't get hit by lightning, and then go to your luxury hotel room.
Pray that you didn't have to roll 4 on at the end of the night.
Then I went, you know, I had a room at the JW Marriott that I got to at 1 a.m. and I had to get up at 5 a.m. And
Exactly.
I only had 4 hours of sleep. It was a nightmare.
What was that American Sniper where he's like laying on top of the building and he had to pee and he just fucking pissed his pants? He's like, ah, fuck it.
I've been there. I've had to.
Yeah. I peed my pants after a long tequila night, but.
It's not voluntary.
That was in Mexico, too.
I think it was definitely Mexico that I peed my pants. That's hilarious. But it heads on that one.
That was the first place I saw machine guns, too.
Why does pants pissing happen in Mexico? It's real weird. I think I might have a few friends who piss their pants in Mexico, too.
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah.
All right, so back to cars.
Wait, no. Back to motorcycles. Did you sell your Harley?
No, I don't think I'm going to.
You gonna keep
I
it?
can't. You know, you're a car guy. I've always been a bike guy. Like, bikes were always cheap, and I was very fortunate that, I didn't have a father growing up, but I had father figures like my grandfather and my uncles, and they took care of me. And they all had a love for motorcycles, whether it was street bikes or dirt bikes, a little bit of both.
Right.
They kind of were always into the dual sport type thing.
Like
My
enduro
grandfather
style?
had like an old Triumph, right, that won like the Pikes Peak Hill Climb. Like he didn't win it,
Right. But he had that bike.
Somehow he got this bike, or he purchased this bike that some dude won the Pikes Peak Hill Climb on, and it was an old Triumph. I think it was a Bonneville or something.
Yeah,
like
that
that.
sounds right.
And I got great photos of him on it, and all this crazy stuff. And but it was Pikes Peak back then wasn't a paved road, and you've taken your Porsche up there, right?
Yeah,
And they
but it's
still
all
do the
it's all
race there.
but
and
it's
all
all
that.
it's all paved now. But that was only, I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago that they paved it.
Right.
Right.
So-
I don't know, it might have been 5.
Right. So if you had a street bike back then, you had to have some sort of, especially if you lived in the mountains,
Yeah.
you had to have some sort of dirt, all-terrain tire on it, right?
Uh-huh.
So it basically turned into a dual sport before dual sports were even made, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at Evel Knievel was jumping Harleys.
Yeah.
And look at the suspension on a bike now, it's like, now they have fucking computerized suspension for like supercross racers and all that sort of shit. Where
That's
it's
why
like,
that's why when he landed, he got chucked
Yeah.
right off of it.
and he broke both of his
And he-
femurs.
Both femurs. I mean,
His femurs took the
and,
impact.
and wrists.
Yeah.
Like everything. And he broke everything
Exactly.
because of this shitty suspension.
So I was very fortunate that they felt it was a good idea for me to have a dirt bike growing up as a kid.
Yeah.
And man, what a life changer.
Yeah.
Like, I think that it got me in a little bit of trouble, and I'm not gonna go into that too deep, but it kept me out of a shitload of trouble.
Sure.
Like, I might have been the kid robbing banks, I might have been the getaway driver or whatever, I wouldn't have held a gun to anybody's head, but I was always looking for something to get me in some sort of trouble. And as I was growing up, there was kind of this rebellion in the motocross era. Like, it started to evolve, like, professional motocross racers or supercross racers or whatever they dub it now started going a little bit rogue, and they started doing freestyle stuff, like kind of like BMX, right?
Yeah.
And I skated as a kid, and I rode BMX as a kid. Rad, that movie Rad, do you remember that movie?
Do I remember that movie?
That was our movie. Is it like
Dude,
kids?
it's
That was
tattooed. Every line is tattooed in my head.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
I
I
haven't
heard
watched it
that
in a long time either.
I heard that they
doing
redid it in 4K.
They're doing a 4K release this
No
year.
shit.
Yeah.
We gotta watch that together.
It was supposed to be, dude.
Let's do a podcast.
I will
and
watch this
Rad.
shit here. They're doing a 4K release. They were supposed to do it at South by Southwest, but South by Southwest is canceled this year.
Oh no
so
shit.
they're just like, they're putting it out, dude. That's gonna happen.
Let's do it.
Because
You and
that
me.
was my
The Rad podcast.
dude. The Radcast
The Radcast.
is
We
happening.
should get Rick Thorne for that one.
Dude, I'll fly him out. I mean, it's gonna cost like $50.
And we're gonna get some sponsors.
Honestly,
eventually.
no, sponsors.
Hey, listen.
Honestly.
Anybody out there that wants to sponsor this shitty podcast? It's not a shitty podcast. It's a really good podcast. Anybody that wants to sponsor this and fly Rick Thorne out here to watch Rad?
I'll
let's
tell
do
you.
it. He's already on the hook.
It doesn't matter. I will pay the $50 that it costs now to fly somebody from LAX to Denver.
Sure.
I will pay that. Whatever. We'll make that happen.
Let's do it.
I
Can we get Christian Slater to watch Gleaming the Cube?
that might cost a couple more dollars. But man, that was my shit.
Yeah.
That was get home from school, watch that beginning to end, go out ride until dinner, and then ate dinner, run outside, go play manhunt throughout the neighborhood, and you didn't have fear of like your neighbor shooting you or suing you.
Sure.
So I used to just run through our neighbors' yards. It was the shit. It was the perfect like Wahoo moment to live in. It was ideal.
Right.
I wouldn't let my kids go into my neighbor's yard. I'm like, hey guys, like, hey, they probably don't appreciate that. And that wasn't a thing in 91. Like that wasn't a thing.
Sure.
It was just like I was hiding in trash cans and climbing trees in my neighbor's yard. It was fine. It's what we did. And it's just such a shame. Such a shame.
It's changed so much. I used to do that on my dirt bike. Like I would get home from school.
That's what
You
I mean.
would get on your dirt bike and you would just fucking go. And
Yeah.
I would ride on dirt roads out here, and the cops didn't. They cared, but they didn't care. You know,
Yeah.
they kind of turned a blind eye to it because I could have been doing worse shit, right? And
Of
they
course.
knew that. And you know, it was the best thing for me because at a certain age that I hit, like in my early teens, right when I was out of high school, I was like, okay, I need a street bike. That's what I need. To
Dude.
pick up chicks, right? Just like you in the car, right?
Yeah,
But for me, it was the bike. I was like, I'm going to have a girl on the back of the crotch rocket. We're going to be doing this. We're going to be doing that, right?
No.
And so I went through that, and I watched a buddy almost die.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm talking like a week or two after we had him. And you're talking about a motorcycle that can go...
It's like 180 miles
Shit,
an hour.
man, you can do, 180 miles an hour on it. But literally, when I really realized it is one of my family members had a Kawasaki Ninja 900 or 9. It was either a 929. I can't remember what it was. It was,
Yeah.
you know, because every year they're changing it to
Yeah, of course.
whatever the
Yeah.
next thing is. It wasn't a Ducati or anything. It's just a stock street bike. But it was a 900, and it was badass. So I hopped on it. He was like, yeah, take it out for a spin. Ride it on the neighborhood, you know. Go see what it can do. And I was in second gear, and I looked down, and I was doing 95 miles an hour.
God,
In
shit's a
second
problem, dude.
gear. Second gear. And this thing had 6 gears in it.
It's not a good idea.
And I was like, I got to have one of these. Which is really smart.
So-
and then a buddy of mine wrapped his into a ditch, and it got real ugly. So then I made the move. I went from I had dirt bikes all the way up till I was 18. I still had them after 18, and then I made the jump to Harleys. But
Which seems like a great idea.
it was awesome,
Yeah.
and it still is.
I kind of want.
But I'm very critical on them too, because me growing up on a dirt bike, I want my feet, and like a BMX bike, you want your feet underneath you, right?
Yeah.
And you look at all these people.
That's why I want
that
one of
have
those trackers.
They
Oh.
never lived. I mean, they didn't grow up on a dirt bike, right?
Right.
They never had a dirt bike as a kid, and they're riding these huge, I mean, just massive Harleys with all these bags and radios and speakers, and their feet are laid out like they're riding in a fucking Barca Lounger, right? And I would.
It's all that I see cruising
Oh,
through
man.
town, dude.
All it takes is one fucking asshole to brake check you, or let's say a piece or a wildlife runs in front of you,
Yeah.
right? A raccoon, a squirrel, anything, right?
You start tag
not that
slapping.
you can just plow through it,
Yeah.
but you don't have any control. When you're in a lazy boy, they call it a lazy boy for a reason.
Yeah.
You're not very reactive, right? So if your feet are underneath you like a horse jockey or something like that, that's where you have all your
You
balance. and
stand
stability.
up.
You know, jumping,
Yeah.
right? Like that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I got really big into the FXRs, and especially the FXRPs, because they were a performance bike, and Harley stopped making them in 1994. And I have a 94P model in my garage.
Oh, that's what it
It's
is.
a police model.
Oh, dude.
So it has the dual disc brakes in the front. I mean, you can ride wheelies on these things. You can do a U-turn in a single lane.
Wait, is that why in Philly they do the like a kind of a cop stunt show on
Yeah.
these bikes.
There's a bunch
that
of
you're
stunt
like,
guys now.
They don't look like they should be doing what they're doing. They look like it looks like Ponch and John from Chips.
If our
It looks
internet
like
was
those.
working, you should pull up. See if you can pull up Unknown. It's this riding crew. I think they're sponsored by one of the beverage companies, Monster or something like that. And or look up Dirt Shark. Dirt Shark Unknown. These guys ride these FXRs like you wouldn't believe. These are full on Harleys. And
Holy shit!
they call it 12 o'clocking, right? And these dudes ride wheelies, and they go past 12 o'clock. They'll be at like 1 o'clock and dragging a hand.
Yeah.
I mean, they're fucking insane.
but I think they call it the Thrill Show in Philadelphia. They cruise around on these like cop bikes, and it looks like they should be crippled. And these dudes are swerving in and out of cones. They're doing all kinds of crazy shit. And you're like, how the hell are you doing that with those bags on the side, fenders?
Oh, these
huge
guys
bags.
ride full baggers and will ride a wheelie at 12 o'clock. I mean,
it's not loading.
it's
Stupid
crazy.
shit.
Yeah, forget about it. But yeah, man, it's funny because a lot of like the bike clubs and stuff, they rode, like the Hells Angels and that sort of thing. They rode FXRs or old police bikes, and they would just strip all the bags and the sirens and all that shit off of these bikes. And they were super performance bikes. Like you could run and get away. And especially the San Francisco Hells Angels would ride them because of the hills and the tight turns and stuff like that. And they were just, they were getaway bikes, man. So it's a totally different thing. A lot of the guys put like a higher suspension on them so you can actually ride them over a curb. They almost get to the point where they're like, have you ever watched Supermoto?
Yeah.
Which is kind of a dying sport, unfortunately, because I really loved it. But it was the cross between, motocross or dirt bikes meets street bikes.
Yeah.
And they had kind of that all-terrain tires.
That smaller wheel, though. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's really what a lot of these guys are setting these FXRs up for. And some of these guys are jumping these bikes like 30, 40 feet, man. It's insane. For a Harley, it's wild.
Hey, there's Norman. Holy
Looks
shit.
just like your dog.
He's kidnapped my animal.
Yeah, I think that landlord turned off the heat and the internet. He's like, fuck it. I'm done. Nobody's paying rent. They're not getting shit.
This is connecting to my phone, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it's weird that, like, a good buddy of mine, man, I haven't seen him in years, but holy shit, these dudes are insane.
Oh,
that's a problem. No, but those bikes, you shouldn't be doing that on those bikes. My friend back in Pennsylvania, Volkswagen guy, he started building turboed 6-cylinder Volkswagens, which he was the first one in the country to do it. It was insane. Growing up in that like community, it's rolling hills, country, whatever, BMX. He had a motorcycle, whatever. But like, he goes, yeah, I'm gonna start turboing these Volkswagens. And everyone's like, what? Like, get a Corvette to do that. Get a, holy Christ.
Yeah, look at
this.
Dude,
this is insane.
Straight up, like everything on these bikes and the way that you build them is you build the exhaust higher, right? It's not your typical Harley that you see all these doctors and lawyers on. I mean, these are young men that are riding really hard. They're stunt riders.
Yeah.
Straight up. And
God,
so much to the fact that they have full ride sponsorships.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what they do. They make these videos and they're all super cool guys. Shout out to Big Al Cycles out in San Francisco, man. He built some badass shit. But there's a whole little like culture. It's like the Porsche or the Bug culture, but it's kind of small and niche, and a lot of the dudes are pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
But it's the FXR culture, man, and it's cool, and that's kind of what I fell into. So like I can't, even though I'm not riding that bike, I haven't ridden in like a year.
Oh,
Straight
really?
up. It's just I've been enjoying the outdoors, man. Like, and it's hard with young kids and
I kind
the
of like.
bike's down. I sold the other bike that was running, you know, because I would fix them up and sell them, and you can
Right.
make some serious money
Sure.
because you can buy these bikes for $3,000 or $4,000 and turn around and sell them for $10,000.
I kind of want to just get like a like an enduro that I can ride from my house down like to the
That's
food
what
store
it's all about.
and throw something in the backpack and go back home. I have zero desire to tour the state.
Right.
I don't want to get on highways. I don't want to do any of that shit. I want to have a BMX bike with an engine.
Dude, you should just
Like,
get
that's
like
all
an
I wanna do.
XR 400 or an XR, those CRFs. They're
Right.
like a full-on street bike, but they make like I'm sorry, full-on dirt bike, but they make a street modification for it to make it street legal. So like you have to get a mirror and a horn and a
Sure. Yeah.
fucking license plate holder or whatever. But dude, you can ride them anywhere.
Yeah.
Like that's honestly what I'm thinking about getting is just so, because I do some backcountry like fly fishing.
Yeah.
And if you could throw your
something to
shit,
carry there.
shit, man.
But like, I want vintage. I want the experience of like a guy in 1982. Like, I want
Get
to.
an FXR.
Yeah,
You can put dirt tires on them.
And what I'm gonna do is we're gonna go out fishing. And I'm gonna wear cutoffs. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a 12-pack Coors in my backpack.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have aviators and a headband. Like that's how I want to. I want to like live the thing. My buddy who started turboing Volkswagens. I was like, he was talking about how fast he could go, and I was like, well, you had a street bike that you could do that. You could smoke your car in. He goes, yeah, but I could drink a Snapple at the same time in this one. And I remember I was driving to Waterfest, which is a Volkswagen meet in New Jersey, with him, flying up the highway, and he's sitting there, and he was drinking a mango Snapple iced tea, and
Do they even make Snapple?
I don't.
anymore?
Does that exist anymore? I don't know.
haven't seen
But
it.
I remember him sitting there joking about it because I watched him. He used to drive or ride a street bike, and then he gave it all up, and he started developing these race cars and for the street. And I was riding with him once, and I was just like, dude, and he was just like, yeah, man, I can go just as fast as that motorcycle in a Volkswagen while hydrating.
Yeah.
It was hilarious to me.
Well, it's crazy. Some of the Harleys now and stuff, like some of those newer ones, have cruise control.
Mhm.
And like if you get a steering stabilizer, it's
Is it a
almost
bike
kind of
anymore?
scary. Yeah. At that point, it's like when you can listen to the radio and like all that sort of shit. There's something about just having the wind and not like that's kind of the point, right? Is like
Yeah.
to get away from all that shit. And I get it, man. Because I've rented those bikes, and it's nice to have a radio and cruise and have fun and have a big bagger and a big windshield in front of you and all that sort of stuff. But, man, I'll tell you what, it's a different thing to ride all the way to Sturgis on a fucking, like, a chopper or a... and I've never been a chopper guy, but, like, on an FXR, you know? Because
Yeah.
you're in that prone position. You're ready to dip at any point.
Yeah.
It's not built for comfort. It's built for performance, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, the problem now is, and it actually, there was a Cannonball record that was just broken during this whole shutdown.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because of traffic, right? Basically?
Nobody's on the road.
Yeah.
So,
What did they do it in? Like in a Lamborghini or some shit?
No, it was in. It's the best part. It was
Prius.
out in. They had to stop and like charge up. No, it was in an Audi A8. It was a
Okay,
big,
that's a badass car, though.
dude.
Yeah.
Dude, badass, awesome Land Cruiser sedan, designed to go 180 miles an hour all day long. Autobahn cruiser.
Yeah.
Awesome. So they did that while this whole thing was going on. they're getting shit on like hardcore. That like, how dare you take advantage of this time?
But how many
like,
people were like?
why
What? 2 people in the car? Or?
There's 3 people in the car. You have 2 drivers, you got a spotter, and they all circulate and trade jobs, and you got the whole thing plotted out. It's probably the safest time in history to decide
Why not do shit
decide,
like that right
to
now?
decide to go those speeds.
Like, I know you're supposed to stay at home, but if you're not breaking the rules of social distancing,
if they were pulling off at every rest stop and coughing on people at Walmart, yeah that's a problem. But
and you're less likely to pass the disease on, even if you do have it, if you're doing 120 miles an hour.
I think it's better than 6 feet, right?
Yeah. It's better than 60 miles an hour.
But what a time to be alive! Like, that record was shattered like a couple of months ago by like they beat this new one by like 2 hours.
Wow.
New York to I'm trying to think of the name of the hotel.
And that was like this week, or
dude, it was like 6 days ago.
That's awesome.
It was
See, this is why you are my main man in my corners, because you have all these.
Because I have
nobody has heard about this at all. Only Jeremy.
I have all the most useless cool information that you could possibly tune into. Oh my god, I forgot the hotel at the in LA. But so you go out of a parking garage in New York and you jet right across to Los Angeles, and you've got a dude, and this is why an A8 is the ideal vehicle. It's so fast, bomber, and you've got all the room in the world in the back. You've got your spotter in the back. He's got glasses for hunting that he's looking hundreds of yards out, spotting cops.
Really?
It's before the radar even hits.
So I'm sure that they videoed all this, right?
I hope.
And I think, by the way, this video is still trying to load. And
look at that! This is great.
Great picture. Though.
Internet's awesome.
Yeah. I think the landlord's shutting it down. We're gonna have no power here in a minute. I'm sorry,
it's
folks.
gonna go dark. I'm so sorry.
Poor people trying to pay their bills. But no, man, that's freaking awesome. What a great idea. What a great way to pass the time.
Those dudes.
I'm going to drive to New York today.
Those dudes are
So they went LA to New York, right?
No, New York to LA.
New York to LA.
And they're getting
That's smart, too. That's the way to go right now.
They're getting crucified because, if you get into an accident, you could be drawing people away from really important stuff, whatever.
Sure.
But you're also this is the least traffic in the history of modern travel.
100%.
Oh my god, have you been on 70 lately?
No.
I have.
I have no need to.
Holy shit.
I haven't been to Denver in god damn, I don't even know, like 2 months probably.
Yeah.
Maybe even longer than that. I don't go to Denver unless I need to.
It's hilarious.
Why would you? You got fucking Amazon, you got fucking Costco will deliver shit right to your door.
My friends all think I lived in Denver, and they when I see them, they're, how's Denver? And I'm like, I don't know. Completely.
Yeah.
I'm out of there. But yeah, they're getting those dudes who did that. So you've got guys who sat there and said, hey, there's nobody on the road, let's go as fast as we can. And then you've got dudes who years ago have said, hey, let's do this. We might run into trouble. There's traffic, there's people, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. Sure. I think they chose the right way.
So did they show them like getting pulled over? Did they ever?
I haven't seen video.
And get a ticket,
it literally just happened. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey man, the shit that I
kudos to those guys, dude.
Dude, the shit that I geek out about like is very like compartmentalized.
Sure.
There's a whole world out there that is awesome, and I just kind of like space out on. But there's a few things I just go, oh, holy shit, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's all that I want to talk about. Oh, my God. You want to talk about, like, a Volkswagen? Or you want to talk about, like, making it across the
This
country.
is your show,
but
dude.
that's
Talk
it.
about it, man.
No.
Get it out. Get it all out right here.
Spit it out because we're gonna have way more talented people than you.
No, that's not what I'm saying, dude. I'm actually loving this. This is the first time where the podcast isn't so serious. I feel like everybody that we've had on has been. It's not been serious. It's just been a different tone, and I'm very grateful to have those people on and those experiences. But this is just laid back, and thanks for being here, dude.
No, this is great.
Yeah.
This is the best time.
Thanks for
Best
joining
time
this venture with me.
Best time of my month. This is
Yeah.
awesome. I was.
That's not saying a lot right now.
All right. Well, you want to wrap it up?
Well, we're getting there, but do you got anything else you want to talk about tonight? I mean, I think our cameras are going to show. I think one of them died already.
I think that
It's funny, the
Goddamn
more
right.
expensive one takes a shit way before the cheap one does. Doesn't make any sense.
No, you know what? I want to hear it. I want to hear it from a, and you can edit this out. I want to hear from a dude on the ground. My observation is that when this stuff hits, is that we're all going to be so atrophied that it's going to be comedic. Or
Like what stuff hits? Like when we get back to reality.
When we get back to reality, everything's going to
Well,
be so ham-handed and goofball and
do you
like.
think that? I don't think it's going to be like open the floodgates. We're going to go back to reality. I think they're going to stair step us.
Yeah, but I don't know
What
if
I'm
they can.
concerned
I
about-
don't know if they can do that.
Yeah.
Who's to say what's what? Like, no, you can't.
Well,
do
there's
this.
already
You
that
can do
feud
this.
going on between like Trump and the governors or the states, right? So the federal and the state, right? There's all
Right.
this like tension, like they can't tell us to open. We're our own entity, which
Right.
that shit makes me a little bit nervous, man. Like, not like we're gonna have a civil war or anything like
No,
that.
of course
but,
not.
But
No.
like, think about Texas. There's some crazy fucking people in Texas, dude. They,
Who are ready to get back?
They-
Like India.
they're ready to go to the Wild West, right?
Yeah, it's like,
they're
all right, let's do
hey,
it. Let's get back to
They
work.
call
Or
this
like,
shit the Republic of Texas for
Yeah.
a reason, right?
Yeah.
It's not the state of Texas; it's the Republic of
Yeah.
Texas, right? So
Let's get back to work.
part
Or
of that makes me.
I've got a problem with some people.
I do agree that we need to go back to work.
Yeah.
100%. I think that the economical impact that this is having. Don't get me wrong; the loss of life is horrible, right?
Yeah.
I
goes
think-
without saying. Yeah.
I don't wish that anybody loses their life in this pandemic.
Yeah.
But I think that the economic side of it could be more catastrophic, and there could be more loss of life because of the economic impact that it's having
Sure.
worldwide.
Yeah. Globally,
I mean,
for sure.
think about, we're very fortunate. We live in America. We have a government that just shelled out fucking trillions of dollars and gave everybody stimulus checks. And you can do what you want with those, right? You can go to the liquor store, you can buy beer. You can go buy a new handgun. We have that freedom. There's other countries that don't have that freedom.
Or you can pay your
There's-
mortgage.
Yeah. There's other people, exactly. There's other people that, or there's other countries where maybe you don't have those freedoms, right? Maybe
Yeah.
you were working for pennies on the dollar. Maybe you worked in a sweatshop, making fucking cardigan sweaters all day, right?
Yeah.
And now nobody's buying those Carnegie sweaters.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a shit about those right now because they come from China or wherever.
Dude, the ripple is
Right?
so underestimated.
Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, I think that those people could literally starve to death. I think that those people, if they get the coronavirus, don't have a fighting chance because they don't have the ventilators or the hospitals or the field hospitals that are being put up or
Yeah.
the Army National Guard or the Army Corps of Engineers. They don't have that, dude.
Yeah.
They're lucky if they have a bat team, right, from a wet market. So I don't know, man.
You've got to see this stuff, and I've been at all corners of the country, of our country, which is almost like traveling around the world.
Sure.
I mean, the cultures of I love it.
I
This is
love
the
that
best-
everybody's.
It's the best place to.
I mean, they starve to come to America. It makes Americans better just because of their
Yeah.
drive. It's awesome.
No, I
We're
love.
very fortunate.
I love landing in different parts of the country. Makes me fulfilled, and then I'm like, yeah, I kind of don't need to go overseas. Keep it.
Yeah.
That's for another guy. Like I'm, traveling later in life. I am just like, you know what, I'm getting my fill, and just doing
Well, I'll
this,
tell you what, man.
doing the laps around the country that I do.
I haven't been everywhere in the world, but I've been a lot of places. I've been on every major continent.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And it all came full circle. I'm happy to stay right here. I'm happy to be in the U.S. I really, like, I'm glad I got to experience that, but I have no desire to go anywhere right now, dude.
It's
I'm
it.
happy right here in my little
Are you
mountain
kidding
town.
me? This is it.
Yeah.
How do you wrap it up better than that?
Yeah, 100%.
Dude, we're the
People-
lucky. You're listening to luckiest dudes in the country right now.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's it.
We got our families, we got each other.
We
got
sit
all
here,
that. We got
sit
our
here
health.
and drink,
We got some booze.
drink some bourbon, and talk each other's ears off.
Yeah, man,
That's
it
it.
was a good show. Jeremy, thanks for doing this, man. I know you were a little hesitant, but I think it went off like a hitch, and I couldn't be happier to have you in my corner. Seriously, and let's send the people off right, and just, hey, man, everybody stay safe out there. Keep it real. Keep it Rick Thorne.
keep it, dude. That should be. By the
Keep it rad. What does he say? He said, shit, I wish you could
stay
phone-
rad.
Stay rad.
Stay rad. That's it.
Yeah.
Dude, he's got to come here.
Yeah, he's coming.
I'm gonna fly him out.
All right.
All right, everybody.
for
Have
it.
a good night. Have
Thanks,
a good
Bobby.
evening, morning, whenever you're listening to this shit. And we'll talk to you later.
Cheers.